So let's go over this together. So what is Newton's first law of motion? Remember, that's the inertia. So remember, inertia is another word for it, and that means that an object will either stay at rest or in motion unless acted upon. By another object or by another force. Alright. Now, second law of motion. This is how we get force. Remember, force equals mass times acceleration. Or force is the mass of an object multiplied or times or the amount of acceleration by the acceleration of the object. And remember, third law is for every action there is an equal opposite reaction. Alright. So the equation for calculating force is going to be force equals mass times acceleration, and weight is going to be, remember, weight is a representation of force, so you still take the mass of an object and multiply it by the gravity. And remember, Earth's gravity is 9.8 meters per second per second. So if we look at that, we look at how much would it weigh on Earth. We take the 250 kilograms. We see it's times 9.8 meters per second per second. And I can't see it on my calculator. There it is. So 250 times 9.8 gives us an answer of 245 newtons. Alright, so a car is pulled by a tow truck that is going 2.0 meters per second per second. The mass of the car and the net force of the car is going to be, so if we're looking for the mass, equals our 3,000 divided by our 2. So that's going to give us 1,500 kilograms for the car. Alright. The upward force on an object falling through the air is known as air friction. Oh, I just realized that I'm going. That I was out of the way on that one. So why does a feather fall slower than a bowling ball? And that has to do with the amount of air resistance. A planet with more mass will have stronger gravitational forces than a planet with a smaller mass. Unit for weight is newtons. Okay. Next. The unit for gravitational acceleration on Earth is what it should say, is 9.8 meters per second per second. But for any of it, it's just meters per second per second. Alright. When do you have a net force of 0? Well, when your acceleration is 0. When acceleration is 0. Alright. So if you have 0 acceleration, you can't multiply anything for your force, because the force is mass times acceleration. So if there is no acceleration, you have no force. Alright? Explain the difference between mass and weight. Mass is the amount of a substance, and weight is the force in which the substance is being pulled. I'm sorry, not my best writing ever. The pen's a little bit leaky. So how much would a 2.563 kilogram truck weigh on the moon? So this obviously is a truck that is a toy truck, because that's quite a small truck. So we have our 2.563 kilograms, and it says on the moon, so the moon's acceleration equals 1.67 meters per second per second. So we multiply this by 1.67 meters per second per second. So 2.563 times 1.67 that gives us an answer of 4.28 newtons. Alright. Now, what is the net force acting on a box? And remember, if truck A accelerating this much, truck B is accelerating this much, using both have the same amount of force. What does that mean about the mass of both trucks? That means that the mass of truck B must be much bigger. Because if truck A is accelerating almost 4 times as fast as truck B, that means the mass of truck B must be 4 times the amount of truck A. Alright? Now, what is the net force acting upon the box? So, we would go with, we have 1,300 newtons moving to the right, 1,700 newtons moving to the left, so that means we are going 400 newtons to the left is the direction we'll end up going. The net force of this object is we have 1,300 of this accident. We have 1,300 newtons moving towards the truck. The truck is moving at 20,000 newtons towards the car. So there will be 7,000 newtons of force being pushed through the car, which is not a good thing for the car. Now, it's low enough, the truck might ramp over it a little bit, but it's still not going to be good news for anybody involved. Too much force being applied, and that's why head-on collisions are so dangerous. Alright, this is your study guide. Remember, your test is tomorrow. Please get this done. It's still worth bonus points, so go ahead. Alright, bye.